Hi, I'm Mike Owens with VA Careers and Talk About It Tuesday. We've been doing this program for almost 3 years, and I'm amazed at how much we've grown since the beginning. But most importantly, I am grateful for you, our viewers, who log in each week and help make Talk About It Tuesday a huge success. I am also grateful for my coworkers, Kendra and Tim, for taking time to share their knowledge with me and you, our viewers. Also, I have a great team who works behind the scenes to make us look good each and every week. So to Katie, Justin, and Trey, you guys are awesome, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So with that being said, our program today, which is the last of 2022, will be a recap of some of the best career advice that we've had here on Talk About It Tuesday in 2022. So grab a snack and grab something to drink and stay tuned for our awesome program. And have a happy new year. At the top of the resume, we all have a summary up there. It just it gives a short little synopsis of your experience to the hiring manager when they read your resume. It's just right at the top. It tells you, you're telling the hiring manager, this is my experience. These are the kind of positions I look for. And this is what my resume is going to say to you. So again, update your summary. Make sure that it's always updated for every position that you get, or every time, or even if you sit in the same position. Some of us, we've sat in positions for 5-10 years. And even though when you first got hired into a position, you first started off doing one set of job duties, but then as the years pass, you see that your job grows and your job duties expand. You want to make sure that you add that stuff to your resume to make sure that you accurately tell the hiring manager everything you did over that time span of holding that one position. All right. Again, customize your work history. That's the biggest part of telling your resume. Making sure your work history is accurate, and also making sure that I don't know if you do bullet points, some people do paragraphs. It really doesn't matter. But however you customize your work history, and no matter how you list all this type of stuff, you have to make sure that it matches the same theme that's in the job announcement. All right. Update your skills section. All right. Every job we have certain skills. If you're applying for an administrative position, you want to make sure in your skills section you put how many words you type per minute. That may seem like a little small, minute detail, but a lot of hiring managers that are looking for administrative officials or administrative staff, they want to know how many words per minute that you type. Or if you're proficient in Microsoft Excel, or you're proficient in Microsoft Word, or any other program that you may have used in the past and you're proficient at it, you want to make sure that you add those in your skills. If you're, applying for a public affairs position, you want to put that you're proficient in writing. You want to put that you're proficient in photography. Any little skills that can help you in that job announcement, or in that any skills that can help enhance your resume can help propel you to the hiring manager.
Since you're applying for a federal position, I would tell you that a federal resume is in order. It is a unique resume for a couple of reasons. Federal agencies prefer to see your citizenship status, a veteran status, if any, relevant education and coursework, in addition to the traditional education information, professional references, including the name, title, and contact information. So it differs a little bit from a private sector resume. And I would tell you, if you were applying for a federal job, to use a federal resume format. Again, that can be found online with just a quick Google search.
Mikhail, the best thing I would do, and I know I repeat this week after week, and I will continue saying it week after week because I think it's the best way to do it, is to tailor your resume. Make sure that your application that you submit for that position mirrors what's in the job vacancy. Again, I know a lot of us, and I was guilty of this back in the past, that we have this perfect resume that we put together, or we may have hired someone to help us with this resume, or we may have gotten some type of resume advice, and that's all good. But you have to understand that you can't have one resume and apply for 100 positions. Why? Because even if those 100 positions have the same job title, the requirements within those vacancies may be different. And you have to understand that. I know a lot of times, especially when I was younger, I would see 10 jobs with the same job title, and I would say, "Oh, I can do this. I've held this job title," not knowing that some of the requirements inside of those different announcements were things that I've not done, or even if I've done it, they wasn't particularly showcased in my resume. So the best thing I would tell you, Mikhail, is for every job that you want to apply for, read the job announcement, then read your resume, compare what's on your resume to what's in the job announcement. And if you see that it feels like they feel like they're in two separate worlds, I would say make sure that your resume contains the keywords and the key theme that's in the job announcement. Because if you don't, you're going to get looked over, because the hiring manager is not going to feel that you're a perfect candidate for that position. But if your resume does closely mirror what's in the job announcement, that can help you get propelled to a hiring manager and into an interview. Another thing I say about resumes is never leave your hiring manager guessing, or you want your resume to convey the message that you're trying to come across. If a hiring manager looks at your resume and they're still trying to guess whether or not you have the experience for this position, they're not going to interview you. You want to make this process as easy as possible for hiring managers. You want to make sure that you have the most current and the most relevant job experience on top, because again, if they have to go and search for it, or they really have to kind of sift through your resume to kind of find the information, if it doesn't jump at them, all they're going to do is just put your resume onto the side and go ahead and pick someone else to interview. So just make sure your resume has the most relevant information about that job announcement in it. Obviously, the VA, the Department of Veterans Affairs, is one of those agencies that are under the Military Spouse Employment Partnership, and we look to hire a lot of military spouses. So what we tend to do with the MSEP program, that's what's called the MSEP program, it allows military spouses to, explore career opportunities. It allows them to, it gives them the education and training to help them identify academic licensing and credentialing requirements. It gives military spouses employment readiness assistance. And then it connects, the MSEP program connects military spouses with the VA, other government agencies, and other private sector agencies. So it's, if you are qualified, if you're a military spouse, you're qualified to apply for jobs under the Military Spouse Employment Partnership. Now, when it comes to the VA, the VA uses the military spouse option as a special status. So like you may go on to USA Jobs or VA Careers, and you're looking up the job search, and you see different positions, and you notice that some positions are open to only federal employees. Some positions are only open to disabled veterans. Some positions are open to all veterans. Some positions are only open to members that are in the National Guard or Reserves. If there's a special category that only that group can apply for that job, that's called the status grouping. So just like veterans, and whether you're a regular veteran or a disabled veteran or a federal employee, a military spouse grouping is a special status. So what that means is that if you're a military spouse and that job has a special icon that shows that they are giving military spouses preference for that position, that doesn't mean you're going to automatically get the position. That just means that you're going to get the points to kind of propel you to the top of if you're qualified for the position. So obviously, first you have to be qualified for the position that you're applying for. But if it's open to military spouses and you apply for the job under the military spouse preference, then that can help propel your application to the top of the line.
As a fourth-year student, we are required to do both internship rotations at the school, and we're also required to do some externship rotations. So whether that be like a private practice or whether a corporate setting, We can choose between those, but one of our requirements as an externship rotation, we have to do a multidisciplinary setting or a VA or a hospital-based setting. There's just so much room for learning there. So I chose to do the VA setting. I did my rotation down in Tampa. I worked at an outpatient center for a few months, and it was amazing. You know, I only worked there for a couple months. It got cut short due to COVID. But just in my 2.5 months there, I just really, felt a calling, and I really felt at home there. So I decided to go on to pursue a residency at the VA. So I interviewed at a couple different places in South Carolina and in Florida. Fell on Columbia. I thought it was just a great accumulation of everything that I wanted. I could see primary care. I could see ocular disease. I could see ERs and traumas and things like that. And it just offered a really well-rounded experience here.
Another thing is the benefits. Again, like I just mentioned, the 26 paid days off, the 13 sick days, the 11 federal holidays. But VA also offers a variety of high-quality healthcare and insurance options. We have great benefits when it comes to healthcare. I have great health insurance. And there's not just one option. There are many options you can choose from. The VA also offers life insurance. So if you're working on the job, you're enrolled in VA's life insurance program. We have access to the federal employees retirement system, so you can plan for your retirement. You accumulate retirement. You also have the thrift savings plan that also coincides with the retirement plan. And again, there's so much life insurance and long-term care insurance. So again, you always hear about the federal government and benefits. And again, the VA is a federal agency, but there are a lot of benefits. And trust me, VA employers are not lacking when it comes to the benefits side of the house.
A lot of you want to get that foot in the door position just so you can get your foot in the door and then expand from there. So, there's a lot of importance to entry level jobs. Again, getting your foot in the door. A lot of us did that. I was in the military, and when I came into the VA, I had a lot of experience as a military journalist. But when I came into the VA, even after having all that experience, I came in as a GS5, which is an entry level position. And I had to work myself up to where I'm at now. So it doesn't take long. It didn't take me long to move up, but it is a humbling experience when you have all the experience and you're coming as a GS5. And there's nothing wrong with a GS5. I mean, every position is important here with the VA. But I would say there's a lot of importance of taking that entry level position, especially if you're trying to get in with the VA, if you're not having luck with your upper level GS positions. All right. So what are the advantages of entry level positions from that standpoint? The first thing I say is training. A lot of times when we come out the military, or if we have experience in other career fields and we come into the VA, a lot of times we come in a position that because it's entry level, we come in with the experience, but we don't come in with the experience of that particular career field. When I came into the VA, I had a lot of experience as a public affairs person, a military journalist. And when I got my GS5 position in the VA, I was a volunteer service assistant in the community relations office, which means I was in charge of onboarding, training, and sending volunteers to the various departments at the New Orleans VA hospital. I had never done volunteer service before, but I figured, okay, this is what I need to do to get my foot in the door. And it worked.
Human resources is a great field to get in. The reason I like human resources is because I enjoy the interaction that I have with people. I enjoy trying to help people get into positions and into careers where they're comfortable and where they can actually help our veterans. You too have that opportunity by going on to USA Jobs and actually applying there for human resources positions. The positions can range from an HR assistant to HR specialist. in various areas of human resources. So if you're an HR staffer or you like to do recruitment, we have HR recruitment and staffing. Also, we have employee and labor relations. That's another area of human resources. The other area that we may have that may interest you is benefits and compensation. So HR has a plethora of career paths, and your way to that career path is going on to USA Jobs and finding what job and opportunity fits you.
I'd like to take a couple of moments to talk about applying for a job at the VA. I would like to say that I believe there's a job for everyone with the VA. We're the largest integrated healthcare system in the United States, and we have opportunities in so many fields like housekeeping, police officers, maintenance personnel, doctors and nurses, and a whole lot more. The team's going to place a link in the chat that examines the application process and a timeline to provide some context here. They'll put that link in there, and I encourage you to take a look at it. It's a good article on applying to the VA. So I'd like to also take a moment to talk about expectations. You heard me talk about it a little earlier on one of the questions, but I just like to say, as much as we would all like to start at the top, we really need to consider getting our foot in the door first. I feel confident that everyone has heard that before. Get your foot in the door. Make sure that you read the announcement thoroughly and understand what the job entails, and make sure that you're qualified for it. Don't apply for something that you're not going to be considered for. Why get that disappointment? Look at those qualifications, look at what is being asked for, and apply for what you do, what you need. I'm just going to tell you, it took me 32 applications and 2 interviews to be hired for the VA back in 2011. And I thank the individual profusely that hired me. He knows who he is. I talk about him all the time. His name is Mr. Russ Peel. So anyways, I'm just going to tell you that persistence is a must. And I encourage you to just stay the course, keep applying. No matter how long it takes, your new VA career will be worth the wait. Join our team and find out what it means to serve the best patients in healthcare, veterans.
Being able to feel like the day-to-day work that I am contributing is going towards kind of the greater good, or going towards something that's kind of larger than myself and my individual kind of scope and contributions, knowing that we're each kind of chipping away, but we're each chipping away together, which chips away, at a larger chunk at a time. And this kind of, mission mindset that those of us that I think have a real passion for VA, it all comes back to the mission. And that underlines our decisions, our interactions with our colleagues and with the veterans. If it doesn't serve the mission, which is to support the health, the well-being, and, the quality experience of our veterans, then is it something that should consume our time and energy? And I think some of the day-to-day grind or some of the, pettiness or those sorts of things, there just simply isn't time for it.
So I really enjoy leading the people that I lead. I've got a great police force, and it is such a pleasure to watch them day in, day out, take care of our nation's veterans, and to get them the care that they deserve while protecting those same veterans and the staff.
Specific level, our mission, we all choose to come to VA, right? I mean, we have the best mission, the most noble and sort of in some level emotional mission, I think, of all government, almost every other agency. And I think about particularly those of us who, have had interactions with veterans. I did when I was at the Board of Veterans Appeals. I would hold hearings with veterans who were appealing, benefits decisions and being nose to nose with those that we serve. And I know in the healthcare space, I mean, you all are kind of on the front lines, many of you, nose to nose with veterans. There's such an opportunity for us to make an emotional connection and an empathetic difference in someone's life, particularly if they're going through something difficult or if they're in a vulnerable state, whether it's from a benefits perspective or a healthcare perspective. So I think inherent in our mission is really about connectivity and empathy and really kind of serving those who have served a cause greater than themselves. I mean, what a noble, incredible, aspirational mission.